Bien, vamos a dar comienzo entonces a nuestro webinar en el día de hoy. Tengan todos muy buenos días y buenas tardes para quienes se conectan desde otras zonas del mundo. Antes de comenzar, a nuestros invitados angloparlantes les recordamos que esta actividad cuenta con interpretación simultánea y pueden acceder a ella haciendo clic en el icono del mundo que aparece en la parte inferior de su pantalla. Before starting with the activity, we would like to remind our English speakers, guests, and audience that this activity has simultaneous interpreting. You could kindly access it by clicking on the icon on the word symbol at the bottom of your screen and select the language. La Asociación de Industriales de Antofagasta, organizadores de la Exhibición Internacional de Tecnologías e Innovaciones para la Industria Minera y Energética, Exponor, les da la más cordial bienvenida al segundo webinar del ciclo Región de Antofagasta, Chile, Oportunidades para empresas extranjeras en el mercado minero y energético, a quienes se conectan por primera vez y a quienes nos acompañaron en la primera edición. Además, enviamos un especial saludo a las empresas alemanas que hoy están dando inicio a su participación en el Study Tour virtual Antofagasta y que nos acompañan en este seminario. Este Study Tour es parte de las actividades que se realizan en el marco de la presencia de Alemania como país invitado de Exponor 2022, organizado por AHK Chile. En esta actividad nos acompañan señor Fernando Cortés, gerente general de la Asociación de Industriales de Antofagasta. Su excelencia, señor George Monjeman-Yene, embajador de Sudáfrica. Agregados comerciales y equipos de las oficinas de ProChile en el mundo. Representantes de embajadas y agencias de promoción, comercio e inversión extranjeras, gremios, cámaras y asociaciones internacionales de los siguientes países: Alemania, Arabia Saudí, Argentina, Australia, Austria, Brasil, Canadá, China, Colombia, Croacia, Ecuador, España, Estados Unidos, Filipinas, Finlandia, Francia, India, Indonesia, Israel, Malasia, México, Noruega, Países Bajos, Perú, Polonia, Reino Unido, República Checa, Sudáfrica y Suecia. Señora Andrea Moreno, gerente de Exponor, empresas nacionales y extranjeras, agentes internacionales de Exponor. Señor Gerardo Illanes, Chief Financial Officer de SQM. Señora Pilar Velázquez, Manager Projects, Contracts and Procurement, BHP Minerals Américas. Asimismo, queremos saludar y agradecer a los socios estratégicos de Exponor 2022, Albemarle, Antofagasta Minerals, Escondida, BHP, SQM, Codelco, El Abra y CICEP. Saludamos también a los patrocinadores de Exponor, Sofofa, Consejo Minero, Sonami, Aprimin, Generadoras de Chile, Ministerio de Minería, Ministerio de Energía, ProChile y el Gobierno Regional de Antofagasta. Y a los medios oficiales de Exponor 2022, Minería Chilena, Radio Bio Bio y Reporte Minero. Mi nombre es Alicia Reyes y soy la persona encargada de la promoción internacional de Exponor 2022. Y para dar inicio a esta actividad le damos la palabra al Biministro de Minería y Energía, Juan Carlos Jobet, quien profundizará sobre el panorama actual de la industria minera y energética de nuestro país, desafíos y metas marcadas.
Hello everyone. I want to thank the Antofagasta Industrial Association for this invitation and to congratulate them for organizing this webinar about the opportunities the Antofagasta region has for foreign companies in the mining and the energy sectors. Combined, energy and mining continue to be the most important investment destinations in Chile, with around half of the estimated investment. In the case of mining, according to Cuchilco, the investment portfolio in this decade will account for over $74 billion. Of that total, almost 25 billion, or a third, are projects that will take place in the Antofagasta region. In energy, taking into account only the projects currently under construction, the investment portfolio includes 128 projects for over $11 billion. Antofagasta received the largest amount of investment in the country as well, both in power generation and transmission. This is hardly a surprise, as both sectors, energy and mining, are strongly interdependent. The Antofagasta region is by far the largest mining district in Chile. Here, 61% of the jobs are related to this industry, and mining represents over 53% of the regional GDP. The last 17 months have been very challenging. The pandemic has dramatically changed the plans we set to accomplish collectively as an industry. And as the world continues to accelerate the vaccination process to control the spread of the virus, we must be ready to address its socio-economic consequences in a context in which our citizens demand a greener, more inclusive economy. We are convinced that the route to economic recovery and a more sustainable future will be built on responsible mining. The mining industry provides input into almost every product and service available, and Chile will both continue to lead the supply of mining products and assure sound governance, traceability, and an open investment environment for local and international companies. Our country has shared in the past its ambition to become a leader in the production of minerals and metals the world will need to conduct a successful energy transition and build a more sustainable future. Today, we further our commitment with the resolve to become one of the top mining districts for green investment. To accomplish this goal, to be at the same time more competitive and more sustainable, companies themselves and their suppliers will need to deploy innovation and new technologies. Innovation, green mining, competitiveness, value creation, sustainability, these are all aspects that are essential in the National Mining Policy 2050 that we have been working on over the last 2 years. It seeks to consolidate sustainable mining as the engine for economic, social, and environmental development in our country for the next 30 years, all of which are crucial for the green reset that the global economy requires amid the current COVID-19 pandemic and to power future energy. Minería 2050, or Mining 2050 as we call it, is the result of a decade of stakeholders' dialogue. More than 3,500 people with very diverse backgrounds participated in 5 phases of consultation over the past 2 years. Notably, it will be one of the few of its kind with strategic environmental assessment and a tailor-made indigenous peoples participation process. Minería 2050 will allow Chile to materialize a shared vision of what green mining should be and will strengthen the industry's legitimacy and license to operate. We invite all foreign suppliers to become an active part of the solutions we need in order to materialize a greener and more sustainable mining. I hope you all take advantage of the many opportunities Chile offers to get in contact with our mining and energy companies, including Exponor, which will be held in June 2022. We hope to see you in person down here in Chile pretty soon. Thank you.
Agradecemos las palabras del Biministro. Reconocida en todo el mundo, es la industria minera de Chile famosa por ser líderes en la producción de cobre. Pero no solo lideramos la producción del metal rojo, sino también en minerales no metálicos como el litio. Es por ello que invitamos al señor Gerardo Illanes, Chief Financial Officer de SQM, a comenzar su exposición. Gerardo, le solicitamos pueda hablar lento para facilitar el trabajo de nuestros intérpretes. Por favor, adelante con su presentación.
Thank you very much, Alicia, for the introduction, and thank you for everyone that is connected. I see there is quite a large number of people connected. So I'm sharing a screen. Hope you can see it well. With a brief presentation of SQM, who we are, what we do, and as Alicia said, we are a Chilean mining company, but not a copper mining company, which is something kind of strange since pretty much everything mining related in Chile is about copper. And SQM stands for Sociedad Química y Minera, which means chemical and mining company. So we are sort of a mix between mining and a chemical company involved in different business. So let me go quickly over the presentation. We have 5 business lines. The first one is lithium, where we produce lithium carbonate, lithium and lithium hydroxide. We are one of the largest players in the world. We have approximately 19% of the market share. All the numbers in the screen are last 12 months as of the end of June 2021. We have approximately 20% of the market in a market that is growing tremendously. We will discuss about that in a second later. The second business line is what we call the specialty plant nutrition products, where we produce and sell potassium nitrate, sodium nitrate, and water-soluble NPKs, which are essential fertilizers that are sold all over the world. We produce that in Chile, and we are by far the largest player in the industry, with almost 50% market share, being the second largest an Israeli company and the third largest company from Jordan. The third business line that we are involved in is the iodine and iodine derivatives, where we are also the largest player in this industry, where we account for approximately 28% of the market. We sell iodine products all over the world, and we have iodine derivative facilities in many places in different parts of the world to serve the needs of our customers. Iodine is produced in basically 2 parts of the world, in Japan and in Chile, being Chile the largest market of this industry, and being us again the largest player. The fourth business line we're involved in is the potassium business line. Here the main product is potassium chloride. Potassium chloride is a commodity fertilizer that is produced in many parts of the world, being Canada, Russia, and Belarus, the largest producers in the world. We are a very small player, but still we produce approximately, or a little bit less than 1 million tons that are sold into the market, and another production that is used in the production of specialty plant nutrition products. And the final business line is what we call the industrial chemicals, where we sell many of the products that are considered in the fertilizer business, in the specialty plant nutrition business, and in the potassium chloride business as industrial chemicals for different applications all over the world, being the most relevant, the solar salts application, which is a mixture of sodium nitrate and potassium nitrate that are used in concentrated solar power plants. We are in that industry as well, the largest player in the world. Now, why we are in all these industries is basically because we have access to 2 unique natural resources. One is called the caliche ore, which is a mineral that is only found in the northern part of Chile. That is all over the northern part, of course, in the Antofagasta region, but also in other regions in the northern part of Chile. Is surface mining, with the mineral being found between 1 to 5 meters below the surface, where we process between 40 to 45 million tons of mineral to produce a solution rich in iodine that is later on refined into iodine products, and a solution that is rich in nitrates, mainly sodium nitrate. Then we have access to another unique natural resource, which is the salar brines we get from the Salar de Atacama, which is a solution rich in several ions, among them potassium chloride and lithium chloride. we extract the potassium chloride we get from these brines, and then we mix it with sodium nitrate to produce potassium nitrate, which is what we call specialty plant nutrition fertilizers. On the other side, we get from the Salar de Atacama lithium chloride that is later on refined into lithium carbonate and then into lithium hydroxide in our plants in the close to the city of Antofagasta, which are by far the largest lithium carbonate and lithium hydroxide plants in the world. Despite that, we are growing our capacities. I mean, despite having the largest plants in the world, we're growing our capacity significantly, as you can see here. On top of this, of course, we have access to a mineral that is called spodumene in Australia to produce lithium hydroxide, but I guess that's part of a different discussion. Now, we are, on top of being the largest player in the world in pretty much everything that we do, we have quite aggressive challenges on the sustainability part, as the mining minister was saying, is one of the largest challenges or the most important challenges that the mining industry is facing. We pledge to reduce the water consumption, the continental water consumption, 40% by 2030 and 65% by 2040. We also pledge to reduce the extraction of brines by 50% when compared to what is environmentally approved by 2030. So we are growing our capacity. You saw in the previous slide that our capacity was approximately 70,000 metric tons of lithium carbonate, but we grew that capacity from 48,000 metric tons. So we're growing our capacity from 48,000 metric tons to 180,000 metric tons of lithium carbonate, while at the same time, we're reducing our extraction of the natural resource that is used in this production process 50%. So our yields are at the end growing 8 times. This is a humongous challenge, but we are committed to achieve it because we truly believe that it's extremely important to have a more sustainable operation. On the other side, despite being the lithium producer with the lowest carbon footprint, we have pledged to be carbon neutral by 2030 in the production of lithium, potassium chloride, and iodine, and in the production of nitrates by 2040. And the final commitment that we have taken is to reduce our waste generation 50% by 2025. We have been, or we have tried to be extremely transparent on what we do, and we have been sharing everything to our investors, customers, vendors, the local communities, and everyone through a series of different initiatives. One of those is the sustainability report. We have been publishing the sustainability report for more than 10 years and an audited sustainability report for the last 2 years. We also joined with the Argonne National Laboratory to follow, track, and share with the market the carbon footprint of our operations in the Salar de Atacama. We also became members of the United Nations Global Compact, the Global Battery Alliance, the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, and many other initiatives in order to share what we do in a standardized way, so everyone can see, again, on a standardized way, how we are doing in these initiatives. And also, of course, because of the pandemic that everyone is facing, we have been working with our local communities all over to make sure that we can support our neighbors in these tough times. Well, by the way, I'm at home and I have 4 kids, so probably you're hearing one of the 4 kids that is not happy for whatever reason. But anyways, let's continue. In lithium, let me spend a little bit more time here. I told you about our size in the lithium market. We have been growing our capacity. Despite having 20% market share, we keep on growing in a market that is growing at a very high pace. This year, we are expecting that the market will grow more than 40%, while at the beginning of the year, we were expecting that the market was going to grow at around 20%. So the market is not just growing at a high pace, it's almost accelerating. You can see here the volume growth that we experienced last year. We grew 50% from the first quarter to the second quarter. This was in the middle of the pandemic. Then we grew another 50% from the second quarter to the third quarter. Then we grew another 50% from the third quarter to the fourth quarter. And now we are selling every quarter at these levels, growing our volume significantly this year. And we expect that this pace will continue going forward, multiplying the size of the market 3 times from now till 2025. And then we expect that the market will at least double again from 2025 to 2030. So the market is facing a huge challenge here, which is to grow, to produce more on a sustainable way. While at the same time, we all have the huge challenge to produce product at a very high quality, because the main driver of the growth of the lithium industry is the high-tech industry related with electric batteries for electric vehicles. So we have a challenge to produce more, of course, at a lower cost, and also with better quality and with a lower environmental impact. We, SQM, are facing this challenge, but all of our competitors are facing the same challenges. So it's quite an interesting industry to follow and to be aware that this is actually happening in Chile. We are not just it's not just the only producer in Chile. Albemarle is also quite a relevant producer in the market, and they are located in Chile as well. Then on iodine, here things are a little bit less exciting as in lithium, in the sense that the market here is not growing at 20, 30, 40% per year. The market here has been growing at around 2 to 3% for the last many, many years. Iodine is used in many different applications, being the most relevant ones, X-ray contrast media, mainly, which is used for X-rays that are taking on soft tissues, and polarizing films, biocides, and many other different applications. Iodine has, well, this chart is a little bit short in time, but if you go back a few years, you would see that the price of iodine has been moving up significantly, from about $17 per kilogram to the current price that we're seeing today at around $35 per kilogram. And that is basically because the market has been growing year after year, this 2 to 3% per year, while the industry has not been able to grow their capacity. Why is that? It's basically iodine is produced in Japan as a byproduct of natural gas production. And our Japanese competitors have not been able to increase capacity because, again, it's a byproduct of another industry, and they have several environmental restrictions to increase capacity. And on the other side, to produce iodine, you need water in the driest place on earth in Chile, along with mining rights and, of course, all the equipments that are needed to do this. So our competitors in Chile have not been able to increase capacity. We have a challenge here. We are expecting to increase capacity. We're working on a seawater pipeline that will allow us to increase capacity to leach the caliche with seawater, not desalinated water, but seawater directly. But there is a challenge because the market keeps on growing at this 2 or 3% per year, and no one is increasing capacity. So again, we are quite committed to increase capacity here, but it's a challenge that we are facing there. Then in the fertilizer business, here, we have 2 business lines that are fertilizer related. The potash business line, which is the one I showed before, where we have 1% of the market. We are a very small player. We are not the lowest cost producer, as we are in lithium and iodine. But potash for us is a byproduct of our lithium production, and we sell to the market what we don't consume internally to produce potassium nitrate, which is the most relevant business for us in the fertilizer area. Potassium nitrate is a market that has been growing at about 5% per year over the last many years. We expect it will continue to grow because of several trends in the industry. Unfortunately, we don't have much time to go in those details, but we are the largest player. We have almost 50% market here. And we expect to continue growing our capacity to make sure we keep on supporting our customers in this industry. We are the lowest cost producer since we produce potassium nitrate from a natural source of nitrates, while most of our competitors produce potassium nitrate from a synthetic source of nitrogen, which is significantly more expensive, and also it has a significantly more relevant environmental footprint. And the main driver also of the nitrates industry is what is happening with the solar salts, as I was mentioned before. There are basically two ways you can produce energy from the sun: is photovoltaic panels and concentrated solar power plants, which is actually, there is a picture in here where you have a big tower and you have an array of mirrors that reflects the light of the sun at the top of the tower, where it gets to approximately 550 Celsius degrees, and these salts, this mixture of sodium nitrate and potassium nitrate that we produce, are melted there, and then the molten salts are kept in these big tanks as molten salts that let you produce electricity during the night by evaporating water and generating a steam that moves a turbine. We are the largest player in this industry, and we are growing our capacity to make sure that we can keep on delivering solar salts to the projects that are being developed all over the world. We are, as said before, growing in each of the business where we're working. We have what is for us an ambitious CapEx plan going forward. We expect to invest approximately $2 billion over the next few years until 2024 to expand our lithium production capacity, lithium carbonate and lithium hydroxide, to expand our nitrates and iodine capacity as well on the different, because of the different reasons I gave you before. That is, on a very short nutshell, what is SQM, what do we do, and that's it.
Muchas gracias, Gerardo, por su presentación. Les recordamos a los asistentes que todas sus preguntas las pueden dirigir a nuestros expositores mediante la sección de preguntas y respuestas que se encuentran al costado inferior de la pantalla. La Exhibición Internacional de Tecnologías e Innovaciones para la Industria Minera y Energética, Exponor, se ha posicionado en el circuito internacional gracias a un distintivo sello de feria técnica y en terreno. Gracias a su privilegiada ubicación en la región de Antofagasta, capital mundial de la minería por la cantidad de proyectos mineros que allí convergen, Exponor ha preparado un completo programa de actividades de negocios dirigido a sus expositores para facilitar su vinculación con la industria minera nacional. A continuación, en representación de Exponor 2022, expondrá la señora Andrea Moreno, gerente de Exponor. Andrea, al igual que nuestro expositor anterior, por favor, solicitamos hablar lento para facilitar la interpretación. Activar su micrófono y comenzar con su presentación.
Good morning. Can you see the presentation?
Muy bien.
Okay. Good morning or good evening, depending where you are in this world. My name is Andrea Moreno. I work at the Industrial Association of Antofagasta, and I'm in charge of Exponor. My agenda for my presentation will be, firstly, I will explain about the opportunities that our region offers. Secondly, I will tell you about us, who we are. And finally, I will explain more about our upcoming event, Exponor. We're located in the north of Chile, in the region of Antofagasta. Our main activity is the mining industry, with all value chain of service involved, from port, transportation, servicing, and operation, among others. The region produces 54% of the country's copper, equivalent to 15% of copper productions worldwide. And we also lead production of other metallic and non-metallic minerals, such as lithium, nitrate, silver, and molybdenum. Our region has the largest generation capacity, being responsible for 24% of the country's energy generation. As you heard from the Minister, our region leads the portfolio of investment projects in mining and energy. The energy projects under construction in our region are solar and wind projects. On a global level, our participation in astronomical centers is also relevant. As you can see, we have all the important mining companies in our region. Who are we? The Industrial Association of Antofagasta was founded in 1944. We have 250 members, which include the mining companies such as Codelco, BHP, Freeport-McMoRan, SQM, Albemarle, Glencore, and Antofagasta Minerals. We also have large, medium, and small supply companies as members. I would like to show the different services we can offer to a foreign company who is looking for new opportunities in the Chilean mining sector. We can receive foreign trade delegations and arrange a networking program with our companies, especially with companies that supply goods and services in the industrial and mining sector. We can help companies to find a business partner in the mining and energy sector using our database, CICEP. CICEP is an evaluation and qualification system for supply companies. It has around 3,400 national and foreign companies enrolled. They have been evaluated in different aspects. The system is used by the mining, energy, and industrial companies to search and select suppliers. They can search for companies using a search criteria, or they can choose a specific company to see its information. The last service I would like to present is Exponor, a platform where you can promote your services, expand your network, and get information about the market. Exponor is an international mining and energy exhibition that is held every 2 years. The next version will take place next year in June from 20 to 23. Our exhibitions brings together around 900 exhibitors from 30 different countries. What makes our exhibition unique is the geographical location. We're surrounded by the most important mining companies in the world, as I mentioned at the beginning. Additionally, don't forget that I mentioned our region had the largest portfolio of investment projects in mining and energy in Chile. The large size of the region's mining productions means that it's a huge demand for suppliers to handle the operations and the maintenances. The mining sector needs to ensure its competitiveness and sustainability, which is why it requires supplier companies with technology and innovations. Our industry is developing towards mining 4.0, but also towards green mining, reducing the carbon footprint and water resources, incorporating clean energy and electromobility, the use of solar hydrogen too. Therefore, Exponor is a unique opportunity to showcase itself and establish links with the different stakeholders, like the workers in the industry, the public sector, the universities, technology centers, and national and foreign supply companies. Usually we have exhibitors from 30 different countries, 10 of them as a country pavilion. In these countries, we have institutions that represent us. In some cases are trade associations, commercial agents, embassy, or government promotion agencies. Germany is our guest country for the next Exponor, which is one of the largest pavilions together with Brazil, the United States, and China. Companies supplying goods and services in the value chain of the mining and energy industry exhibit in Exponor. They're national and foreign companies. The last one represents 1/3 of our exhibitors. In this exhibition, the mining companies are not only visitors, they participate with their own stands, and these stands become a real meeting points to develop business connections for the exhibitor. For example, during the last Exponor, BHP carried out its own business roundtable meetings with exhibitors from different countries. At Exponor, we strive to create the greatest number of business connections between the exhibitor and the mining companies and the industry in general. During Exponor, we carry out a number of activities during these 4 days to help your network and create new business opportunities, especially with the buyers from the mining companies. For example, the business roundtable meetings with the mining executives from the different areas, like supply, maintenance, project, process, who have bilateral meetings with exhibitors. In the last Exponor, we had more than 2,200 roundtable meetings. Or technical delegations. We also coordinate visits by delegations of managers, executives, operators, and technicians from mining companies to Exponor to visit the different exhibitors. We organize seminars where the CEOs of the main mining companies present their investment portfolio. Furthermore, we organize presentations where the supplies area of mining companies present their needs in terms of goods and services. At Exponor 2019, the last one, 8 mining companies gave such presentation describing their needs in terms of purchase and tenders. Additionally, we arrange visits to the mining sites and energy plants so you can see their production process and challenges on site. There are also countries which hold reception or arrange complementary activities to connect their exhibitors with industry. We provide assistance to organize such events. We ask each exhibitor to provide information about the innovation or technical product or service that they will bring to the exhibition so we can promote it in our website before Exponor starts. We also inform the visitors and the executives from the supply area of the mining companies of these products and service so they can know what they will find when they visit Exponor. We will probably have to make some adjustments to the logistics of these activities in order to comply with the COVID-19 protocols. We're happy to invite you to be part of Exponor. You are welcome to participate either as a single exhibitor or on the country pavilion. The advantage of the pavilion form is the previous promotion of its exhibitors and activities we can do, sending information to the visitors and the mining companies, and support in organizing activities too. Our contact information is right there. Alicia Reyes, who has been with us all the morning, she's in charge of the international promotion. If you haven't been to an Exponor, here you can see the result of the last Exponor. I will not describe them in details because you will have the presentation will be available. At Exponor, you will be able to promote your product and services, have direct contact with the mining and energy companies, get information about investment projects in the region, know the needs the mining companies have, you can find the local partners, and expand your network. So I hope you see you here next June in Exponor. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Andrea, por tu presentación. A continuación, es el momento de conocer la presentación de la señora Pilar Velázquez, Manager Projects, Contracts and Procurement, BHP Minerals Américas. Les recordamos a los asistentes que todas sus preguntas las pueden dirigir a nuestros expositores a través de la sección de preguntas y respuestas al costado inferior de su pantalla. Pilar, por favor, hablar lento y comenzar su presentación.
Thanks, Alicia. My name is Pilar Velasquez. I'm the manager of project contracts and procurement for Spence Growth Option Project in Spence, and also for the next level of the tailings dam of Spence. Well, first, I want to thank you for the Industrial Association of Antofagasta for this great initiative and the opportunity to get to know people from different places, and definitely vendors that we'll be happy to work with. In terms of the presentation, I've structured in 3 separate ways. First, a brief introduction of BHP. Secondly, our challenges and how you can participate on those challenges. And third, how you can become a supplier of BHP. But I want to take 1 minute to reflect on safety. And one of the key things for us is this month, on October the 10th, we commemorate the Mental Health Day. And for me personally, I think it's important to raise awareness of the mental health and have conversation with our teams, with our colleagues, but not leave this only for work, also include it into our families in this conversation, because that awareness will definitely help us to understand a bit better the problem, but more importantly, to remove the bias that some of us have for this type of problems. So I'll jump into the presentation. First, for those who don't know BHP, we're a global resource company that have been working for over 130 years. And our purpose is to bring people and resources together to build a better world. And how we will do that? Well, I think 2 key things on BHP are our charter of values, with our 6 critical values for us, but also our code of conduct, which provides the framework where we work on, and the ability to take decisions and create process and procedures that support that. In terms of our portfolio, tier 1 assets, as you can see, we're structured in 3 different regions. First, Minerals Australia, where we produce iron ore, copper, nickel, and coal. Minerals Americas, where we produce copper. Recently, we announced the new project in Canada that will include potash into our portfolio, iron ore and coal, and last but not least, petroleum. Here, I want to take 1 minute to reflect on Escondida, one of the largest producers of copper concentrated cathodes in the world, and definitely one of the key players of this Industrial Association in Antofagasta, and happy to receive you the next year here. In terms of our global locations, as you can see, we are pretty intense in Australia, but also in South America, where we include copper as the key thing of the key commodity in Chile, and the rest of North America, where we include our petroleum and oil and gas assets. The rest of the dots, as you can see, in Aura Churchill's corporate offices. In terms of our resources or the commodity that we're producing currently, we can differ in 3. We can include it in 3 different groups. The first one is the future-facing commodities, where you can see the traditional application for them, but also the emerging application. And why this is important for us as BHP, because all the emerging applications are linked with our Climate Act plan that we will talk later on in this presentation. But this is really important for us because we are focusing on the commodities that will change the face of the world. So the first one is nickel. Of course, the traditional application of stainless steel, but we also see a lot of potential in electric vehicles, batteries, and storage solution. Potash, as we mentioned, is a new project that we will start construction during the next year, and is aligned with the fertilization and how we are able to increase the production of crops to feed the people in the world that we know that this is increasing. And finally, copper, where the main applications that we all know is wiring, power cables, cards, but we also have included turbines, electric vehicles, solar panels, and battery charging. The most common ones are iron ore and met coal, where we continue and supporting the growth of the city with these commodities, but also the support of the build of wind turbines, carbon capture infrastructure, and climate adaptations. And finally, oil and gas, where we all know this application, but we will talk about BHP's decision on these specific commodities on the next slide. Here is our commitment to health, safety, environment, and communities. I just want to highlight 2 or 3 things here. First, our commitment to inclusion and diversity. As you might be aware, we have been pretty vocal in our commitment to include female contractors in the workforce and how we're able to do that. So here you can see the increase in the past 5 years. We still have a long way to go because our commitment is for 2025 have between 40 and 60% of our females of the BHP participate employees as female. And that also include our contractors. They are critical for us. In terms of water, we have reduced the usage of fresh water. And that is because we have included desalination plan in our operations in Antofagasta and also in Spence. And our social investment is over 150 million in the communities that we operate. So the second part is the future. How looks the future for us? And we believe it's pretty clear and it's happening right now, so we don't need to wait. In terms of what the BHP is focusing on isn't the resources that the world need and to grow and decarbonize. That's one of the key things and is aligned with our climate change commitment for the next years, where we believe that copper will be key for the renewable energies, nickel for the electric vehicles, potash for sustainable farming, iron ore and metallurgical coal for the steel needed for infrastructure. As you can see below, there are 3 recent announcements that BHP has made. First, the approval of this new investment in Canada, about $5.7 million, where we believe is the inclusion of this new commodity will change the face of BHP a lot. The decision to merge the petroleum asset with Woodside, which will take us out from the petroleum business and unify our corporate structure. We currently have ALC and PLC, so we have a division in the UK and in Australia. What we're doing with this is to be more agile as an organization to answer faster to the needs of the market. And what is the continuation of our future? We believe that taking real action on climate change is key for us. We have set a goal for 2050 of net zero emission for all the emissions that we operate, so all the emissions that we have 100% of control of. But we also have set a target for the emissions that we do not control, but we're able to influence. So the plan that we have here, as you can see, are separated in 3 different scopes, where the first 2 scopes are the things that we can control. And that is not only the things that we can control as BHP, but also the things that we can partner up with our vendors, with new technologies, with new ideas to tackle the emissions. And also the things that we can influence, so the market we operate and how we make sure that we are able to influence decisions based on the ability that BHP has in terms of the size and the volume that we are able to produce. As I mentioned before, we recently have launched the Climate Transition Action Plan for 2021. And here is just a summary of some of the key actions that we have already done. So solar farms, commitment for renewable energy, establish a pipeline for decarbonized projects in all our operated assets, battery for electric trucks. These have been challenges that we have launched to the market, and we have received a lot of feedback, so we are extremely happy for this. And how we see what is happening in terms of the commodities that we are decided to invest in is the steel demand will increase for the next 30 years. Same with copper. We believe that there's a strong power in nickel as well. potash with the inclusion of this new asset in Canada, and finally move away from original oil and gas sources and move it into a more cleaner energy sources. Continue with the challenging and the support that we need from our partners and our vendors and our contractors is the inclusion or diversity. We have been working on this for quite a while, and BHP has a strong commitment with increased female participation, but we don't want to limit it into just female participation. For us, diversity includes all different types and conditions of our people without any discrimination. So our position here is we had a vision where we want to unlock the enormous potential that diverse and inclusive teams bring, because we have the strong commitment and we know that inclusive and diverse teams are safer and more productive because they are able to bring their whole self to work. They're safe to speak up. They're able to share what they are thinking. We believe that in order to attract and retain that talent, we need to be really open-minded and make sure that we are flexible and we are allowing people to empower, and we are offered to provide them a workplace where they feel empowered. And our commitment on this is that we will not discriminate on any basis. And the most important part, and the invitation here for all of the people on this call, is this is not something that we will do as BHP only. We need our partners, we need our contractors, we need our suppliers to be able to do their part as well. And in terms of the commitment, as I mentioned, for us, it's critical that everybody bring their whole self to work. And we do not discriminate. So that's why we have 4 pillars in order to allow people, in order to allow our workforce to feel more empowered. And one of them is flexible work arrangements that helps people to work in different time zone, different schedule, and more importantly, to balance work and life. Then we have enabling our supply chain partners. We do understand that our commitment to inclusion and diversity should cascade into our suppliers as well. Uncovering and taking steps to mitigate potential bias, we do realize that by having a diverse workforce, sometimes we identify problems with discriminations. So what we have done in BHP is to identify those problems and to create processes that are able to identify in an early stage and create those processes. I think is a great tool that we have internally in order to allow people to be and to feel safe to speak up and to bring their whole self to work, as I said before. And finally, ensuring our brand and industry are attractive to a diverse group of people. And I think one of the key things of these conversations is for you to get to know BHP and understand that we're really, really keen to get to know different players and for them to be able to participate with us as a business. And the final challenge that I would like to share with you today is tailings storage facility. This is a slide with a lot of information, so please don't get caught into all of the details. But what I would like to share with you today is, for us and for our purpose, we need to make sure our people stay safe. And for them to stay safe is that we have taken a lot of action based on recent events in terms of the tailings space. So you can see here on the timeline where you can see the external events that are pretty known for everybody. But internally as BHP, after every one of those events, what we have done is to put the right mitigations in place, because we do realize that tailings storage facility is a risk, but we will like to have a control risk and a mitigated risk. And in order to do that, is why we have changed our structure, including certain specific people within our team as practice lead, that they are overseeing the governance and the application of that governance into every new project that includes tailings. Also, we had a tailing excellence team that are looking after every new project. But the importance of these teams and its layers of risk controls is not only for new projects, but also to take a look on all the tailings that we're currently operating in. And in Chile, we have 2 in Escanida and 1 in Spence. And it's definitely one of the key things for us is to include technology into the current tailing storage facilities, but also for the new ones that are part of the projects that we are currently studying. And finally, the invitation, right? Because this is one of the key things of this conversation is how you make sure you understand how you can be part of working with BHP and how you can become a supplier. The first thing, I really invite you to visit our BHP website. It has a lot of information in terms of how you can access, how you can get invited. One of the key things here is the opportunity we offer to local suppliers as well as indigenous, but that won't limit to work with international suppliers as well that we're able to work from Antofagasta. You can become a supplier if you are invited to a tender, but also you can express your interest to be part of BHP as a supplier by accessing the system and reviewing the minimum requirements. As you know, and I'm not sure if you worked with us before, but sometimes we have really long process to get registered with us. And that's just to make sure that we have the right company with the right level of expertise and also with the financial solvency to make sure that you are able to deliver. But that won't limit that we can work with different companies, smaller companies, new companies, startup, high techs. And if we need to create a partnership or something different in terms of commercial structure, we are able also to do that and to explore it if we see the value of doing that. And finally, as I mentioned during my whole presentation, one of the key things of this conversation with you guys is get to invite you for our next Exponor next year. Hopefully you can be in Chile, where I think we're doing pretty well in COVID in terms of vaccination. So we're very looking forward for next year and definitely keen to see you face to face and explore new opportunities for us as BHP, but also for your companies. Thanks.
Perfecto, muchas gracias Pilar por tu presentación. Ahora vamos a dar inicio a para responder las preguntas que nos han hecho llegar a través de la plataforma. A ver, vemos aquí, hay una pregunta que yo diría que es para ambos expositores y se refiere a, bueno, por un lado SQM nos mostró, ¿cierto?, en una lámina sus desafíos y cuáles eran como las principales estrategias que estaban realizando para abordarlo. En particular, la persona que nos consulta quisiera saber cuál es la cartera de proyectos más específica de SQM y qué proveedores están requiriendo en el corto plazo. Gerardo.
Well, we are working on several projects already. We're working on a project to expand our capacity of lithium carbonate. We are finishing our expansion from 70,000 metric tons to 120,000 metric tons, and we're working now in the expansion from 120 to 180. We're expanding our lithium hydroxide capacity from 13.5 thousand metric tons to a total capacity that we expect to reach by the end of next year of 30,000 metric tons of lithium hydroxide. We're working on our ion capacity. We are working on the seawater pipeline that we're building as well. We're working on our nitrates capacity. And on top of this, we are developing a greenfield project in Australia, in Western Australia region, where we expect to produce a total of 50,000 metric tons of lithium hydroxide. Those are the most relevant projects we're working on at this moment. Of course, each of these projects have their specific characteristics, and SQM's operations are quite different than the regular mining that we're used to, at least in Chile, in the sense that, as said before, we are a mining and also a chemical company. So if you want to get more details, of course, you can contact us and we can put you in contact with our procurement team to see what opportunities are there on these projects and the projects that will come in the future. But those are in a very short summary, the projects that we're working on.
Perfecto, Gerardo, muchas gracias. La misma línea, Pilar. Ahí también nos mostrabas tú los desafíos principalmente que tienen que ver con el cambio climático, ¿cierto? Que hoy día yo creo que es algo transversal para todas las compañías, pero en específico, ¿qué proyectos ven ustedes en el corto, mediano, largo plazo y qué tipo de proveedores son los que se requieren para abordar, por ejemplo, este desafío?
Super. So in Chile, what we currently have in the pipeline is tailings dam type of projects. So we have one approved in Escondida, and we also have one to be approved in Spence, where the key things I believe in there is the technology that we use for detection of, I don't remember the name in English, but it's detection of the level of the water. So we're using some instruments, and it's probably a key thing there to have technology companies to help us with that identification of the water level of the dam. Also, we have several projects in terms of electromechanical work, and I think in terms of control system, that will be the other thing for us. So it's technology in line with what applications can we use to tailings. Then is control system, the opportunity to reduce exposure of people on site. So every application that we can have, removing that risk. And finally, I think is everything related to technology and equipment for electromechanical type of work, electrical rooms, and stuff like that.
Perfecto, gracias Pilar. A ver, tenemos otra pregunta también para Gerardo y dice, ¿cuáles son sus planes para la reducción de residuos en sus operaciones?
Well, we're working on several initiatives. We have different operations. We have operations in the Salar de Atacama, said before, in our chemical plant close to Antofagasta, in our chemical plants in Coyasur, where we produce nitrates, in our mining plant in Iquique, that is out of the region of Antofagasta, but still SQM and still in the northern part of Chile, where we have our iodine production facility. We are developing a new facility or a new mine, which is the Orcoma mining site. And in each of these sites, in each of these places, we have different initiatives to reduce the type of waste that we generate. I think it's easier for the ones that are interested to contact us and to go in detail in each of these sites and each of these initiatives, because again, each one varies significantly from each other.
Perfecto, muchas gracias Gerardo. Tenemos otra pregunta también para Pilar y dice, en la actual situación de la cadena de abastecimiento que sufre la industria, ¿cuál es la posición de BHP para escuchar a nuevos proveedores con nuevas tecnologías que van en línea con sus propósitos? ¿Y cuál es el canal para acercarse en Sudamérica para presentar sus propuestas?
Great question. As I said, I invite you to visit our bhp.com site, where you can see suppliers, and then in suppliers you can see how to become a supplier. That is one of the options that is published in the public site. In terms of getting to know new vendors with new technologies, we are extremely open to do that. And as you might be aware, we run sessions and we publish challenge sometimes to the market for us to receive their feedback and understand what the options do we have. So please stay really focused on our BHP side in all of the platforms, Yammer, Instagram, and LinkedIn, where you can see all the opportunities that we have for working with us. But I think the most important part is feel free to reach out. Feel free to present your ideas, feel free to present your opportunities. So the first thing is go into bhp.com and understand how become a supplier. Then stay ready, pay a lot of attention to our public social networks where we launch a lot of these initiatives to the market. And third, just reach out. You will probably have my contact, and I could put you in the right direction to get to know the business and get to know the different areas where you might present your solutions.
Gracias, Pilar. Tenemos también una pregunta para Andrea Moreno. Nos preguntan cómo contratar un stand desde el extranjero, cómo se hace y cuánto tiempo antes hay que reservar un stand para participar en Exponor.
You can hire directly with us, or if you want to be in a country pavilion, you should look up in our website if we have an agent in that country. The best solution is to hire it as soon as possible, because then we have more time to promote your company and your services before the Exponor. So you are welcome to contact us so we can give you more details.
Perfecto, gracias, Andrea. Nos preguntan también, para Pilar, en este caso, ¿cuáles son sus planes específicos en Spence y Escondida para implementar más fuentes de energía renovable? Tanto en lo que se refiere a electricidad como en energía térmica.
So, in Escondida, we're currently operating with solar energy. So, not 100%, but we're going into that path. So in terms of a specific project, I'm not sure if I have the answer at this time. I will be completely honest with you guys. But there is a lot of initiative that we have for Spence and for Escondida in order to reduce our emissions. And as I said, these two assets are operated by BHP. They are in line with the climate transition and action plan, where we commit to reduce our emission by 2050. Apologize, I don't have the specific answer. I'm not gonna ramble with something I'm not quite familiar with, but there is definitely a lot of information in our website, and I invite you to get to know it and understand what are the specific challenges that we have.
Perfecto, gracias, Pilar. Y una última pregunta que también es para Pilar y para Gerardo, para ambos. Dice, respecto de la responsabilidad social empresarial, ¿cuáles serían los principales proyectos que se vienen y actualmente están trabajando? Gerardo, no sé si partes tú.
Yeah, we are doing several things around our operations. As I said before, our footprint in the northern part of Chile is quite large. We are surrounded by several small communities. Just in the Cerrado de Atacama, we have more than 20 local communities around our operations. And to be quite honest, in the past, our approach to these local communities was an approach more around a legal framework and basically the legal obligations that we had with them. And that was it. So if we were complying what the law was saying about certain things, we felt that that was enough. That was, I would say, 5 to 10 years ago. But more and more, we have learned to relate with our communities in a different way, where we are not subsidizing them, we are not looking at them as a small neighbor, we are having relations with them as partners. And in that way, we are now sharing with each other the concerns that we have on several different aspects. Some are strictly related with our operations, some others are not, some others are misconceptions, and some others are things that we didn't even understood before. And one of the initiatives, for example, there are several things, but one of the initiatives that we have done is at the board level, we have a committee that is a Safety, Health, and Environmental Committee that meets quarterly to discuss these initiatives. We have had this committee for last, I don't know, 10 years. But we started this year having extraordinary meetings of this committee with local communities. So we invite, because of the pandemic, these are the good things that we got from the pandemic, that we can have these virtual meetings. We have invited to these virtual meetings leaders from these local communities to hear from them at the highest level of the organization what their concerns and points are on certain things, and also for them to get to meet the board members of the company, who are the ones that at the end are taking the decisions that are quite sometimes not understood by them. We're doing this not, and we don't think this is something that is just one meeting where we have a checklist and we follow it and I don't know, after 2 months everything is over. We are doing this to build trust because we understand that if we want to operate in the long term in our mining facilities, we have to, I mean, everyone talks about the social license, but it's more than that. We have to be accepted by our neighbors as another neighbor. But we realize and we understand that we are not just another one, we are a large one that makes a lot of noise and sometimes create disturbances. So we are working again with all of these communities. Again, we are located in several parts in the northern part of Chile, and each of these facilities are surrounded by several communities. Some of these communities are 150 people, some others are towns of, I don't know, villages of 2,000 or 3,000 people. And each of these communities have different needs and different points that worry them. Another example, and I'm going to finish with this one, is that we started about 2 years ago having an online monitoring system where you can go to sqmenlinea.com, where you can see in each of the wells that we have in the company, more than 300 wells that we have in the company to extract the brines in the Cerro de Atacama, you can see online, second after second, how much brine we're extracting. Because there were some myths about us doing something that was different than what we were actually doing. So in order to have an honest conversation, we told them, okay, we're going to do this. And the most interesting part of this is that this whole system, which of course is quite a complicated system and all of that, is fully managed by local communities. So there are no SQM, well, they are now SQM employees because they are paid by SQM as employees, but they were hired from local communities to handle this whole system. And again, to build trust so we can discuss about things that are concerned on their end, or misunderstandings or things like that. But if there is no trust, everything else is quite difficult. So this is, like, I would say the basis of what we're building towards a more, let's say, friendly relation with everyone around us.
Perfecto, gracias Gerardo. Pilar, ¿qué nos puedes decir al respecto?
Well, I think is in terms of the BHP commitment to social responsibility, we have been working in a local buying program for the past 8 years, where last year we committed a $500 million fund to first identify new suppliers from the specific regions where we operate, in this case, Antofagasta and Calama. Also, this fund allows us to increase the minimum wages. So in Chile, the minimum wage is around $600, and we help the small companies through this fund to increase that minimum wage up to 2,000. I'm taking probably exchange rates from last year, so it's not exact 100% accurate, but we increase the minimum wage and we help the companies to increase that minimum wage. We also changed the payment terms for small businesses and from business or for local businesses. So in Chile, we pay in 30 days. What we have done with these small companies is to pay them in 14 days or even 7 days in order to improve their cash flow. And I think what Gerardo was mentioning is about the communities and the partnering. It's key for us to have a good relationships with the communities where we operate in. We do understand that the mining sector has significant impact into the quality of life of the people that surround us. And that's why we need to make sure that they are part of the business. They understand the benefits of being part of the business. And we also have those open conversations and let them know what is the real actions that the company is taking in order to develop the regions where we operate in order to develop those vendors, and to, more importantly, to develop families. Because at the end of the day, we work with people, and those people is what we make us great, and we will be the great company as we believe we will by having and working with the people that is happy to work, that understand the purpose, and is connected to that purpose and how that links into our results.
Perfecto, muchas gracias Pilar también por tu respuesta. Bueno, hemos dado respuesta a la mayor parte de las preguntas, algunas las hemos tratado de concentrar en otras y otras que fueron respondidas a medida que se fue haciendo la presentación. Así es que agradecemos a todos sus consultas y bueno, enviamos nuevamente un saludo especial a las empresas alemanas que están en su participación del Study Tour Virtual Antofagasta, parte de las actividades que se realizan en el marco de la presencia de Alemania como país invitado de Exponor 2022, organizado por AHK Chile. Bueno, ahora vamos ya a finalizar. Tengo entendido que vamos a pasar a los asistentes, a panelistas, para poder registrar, tomar una foto de lo que ha sido este segundo seminario internacional de Exponor 2022. Así que no sé si ya estamos listos con eso, la producción, para que puedan ir encendiendo las cámaras nuestros asistentes. Vamos a dar ahí un tiempo para que vayan pasando nuestros asistentes que se han conectado desde distintas partes del mundo en esta mañana. Han ido enviando sus saludos a través del chat. Hemos visto de Sudáfrica, de Argentina, de Canadá, de Alemania. Así es que los invitamos ahí a ir encendiendo sus cámaras. Y comentarles también que a todos quienes han participado en esta actividad en el día de hoy, vamos a hacerle envío en unos días más del registro, la grabación de esta actividad, para que puedan revivir los momentos. Si es que han tenido alguna duda respecto de alguna de las presentaciones, pueden volver a revisarla en unos días más. Así es que invitamos a todos nuestros asistentes a encender sus cámaras. Vamos a sacar una fotografía para registrar esta actividad. Que veo que están encendiendo sus cámaras.
Hay algunas personas que dicen que no pueden prender su cámara. No sé si...
¿No? Hay que habilitarlos entonces ahí a la producción. Ahí para la producción. Ahí vemos que ya hay más personas con su cámara encendida. Agradecemos nuevamente a todos por su disposición, por el tiempo en esta mañana. Así es que ahí me avisan desde comunicaciones si ya estamos ok o nos falta todavía.
10 segundos, Alicia, y estamos listos.
Ok. Entonces, esperamos ahí. Entonces vamos a contar 1, 2, 3 y saludamos a la cámara. Muchas gracias, que estén muy bien. Ahí ya estamos sacando el registro. Muchas gracias a todos por su participación. Y bueno, les recordamos a todos los asistentes que Exponor se encuentra con sus reservas abiertas. Para más información, por favor, contactarse con nuestra área comercial al correo reservas@exponor.cl. Bueno, como han podido apreciar, son relevantes las iniciativas presentadas en esta mañana, lo que viene a ratificar todas las oportunidades que la región de Antofagasta brinda para la inversión extranjera. Por tanto, no nos queda más que extenderles nuevamente la invitación a que puedan ser partícipes de nuestra exhibición en junio próximo y lograr así conectar con empresas de la industria minera y energética local. Agradecemos su presencia nuevamente, nos despedimos, que tengan una excelente jornada. Have a nice day. Adiós. Chao, chao.
Bye, thank you all.